What's up, everybody? We are here with an impromptu Zoom call with Mike Makula. He's an AI-preneur member. We were just geeking out for about an hour and had a lot of good conversations. And we figured, you know what? Let's just go ahead, hop on. He's going to walk me through using Cursor, basically to create an application. So before anyone jumps off thinking it's going to get too technical, I advise you guys to stay on board. What Cursor allows you to do is basically create applications, have coding done just from English. So just by typing in, you're going to see that we're going to be able to create these applications. We're not going to write any code. We're going to leave that to Cursor. So with that said, Mike, appreciate you being on. It was really cool to talk to you. Excited to get this to work. As you know, I'm a C-line guy. This is a little different. I've only dabbled in a little bit. I know you're an expert in it, and love to see what we got going on here.
Awesome, Ryan. I look forward to helping you out. So let's do this. So the intention here is to actually build the classic like snake game. I'll show you kind of some like walkthrough on like some of the best practices with Cursor to get it to remember what you asked it to do across prompts, and we'll iterate on it and go from there. So to get started though, on the bottom left, there's a thing called notepads. We'll open that up. We'll create a new notepad, and we're gonna just type in here, create an interactive snake game in HTML5 and JavaScript. And I'm specifically picking that so that it just works in any web browser, just as a little file on your computer that you can open up and play with it. But this is where you kind of put like your mission statement or all the things that you want it to remember across whatever you type in that little prompt window on the right. So the next step here is at the top, you see where it says new notepad. You can actually click in there and give this notepad a name. We're going to just call this main context.
Is this in essence serving as a system prompt in a sense?
It's like, yeah, it's like a saved prompt that's going to be across all of your prompts. So it just always remembers no matter what you're typing, you're trying to build an interactive snake game in HTML5 and JavaScript. So it's just always grounded in that.
Correct. So it's the thing that it always remembers, also like the system.
Yes.
Cool.
And one more thing, superpower of Cursor is using rules. And so for now, we're just going to use IDE level, like this tool that you're using, level rules. So if you go into the top right, there's a little gear, and that opens up the settings, and it takes you right to the rules for AI. We'll just type in here, write comments that help me understand all the code that is being written. And then you can write another line and say, um, I've never written code before, so help me understand what is happening. Just just grounded in that too, right? So this is again additional context that it's going to have every time you're hitting that prompt window. And for now, we can close this out, and we can close the main context as well. Oh, okay. Funny enough, if you go back to your prompt window, if you on the top right, you actually it removed it. So there's a little thing that called add context. We can just add that main context back. Click on that. And then we can just go in there. And then if you look in that window on the bottom left, you it's going to be using Cloud or Claude 3.5 Sonnet. You have other options, but we're going to use that for this tutorial. The other big piece is on the far right. It says agent. You're going to click that. And that turns it from like just giving a bunch of text that you can apply and whatnot to it'll run terminal. It'll actually start building all the files, editing them. Like it does use more of the request behind the scenes, but it does more of the stuff for you rather than you having to make all the decisions. So we call it more of like an autopilot mode.
That was my question. Okay, so normal mode, it's still you still step through the process, and agent is
Right.
just more like can go bananas.
Right.
Okay.
And there'll be times where it'll run certain commands where it'll say, "Hey, do you approve to run this command?" which is appropriate, right?
Hmm.
Just so you know. But anyways, the next step here is let's actually make it do something. So just in your prompt window, let's just type let's build the snake game.
I'm staying on agent or normal mode.
Staying on agent.
Okay. So you want to put let's build a snake game.
Yeah, let's build the snake game and submit. You can see it's already there it goes. I already identified how to do this. Setting up the HTML5. It's doing it all as a single HTML sheet there. So you're going to have the CSS, the JavaScript file all referenced. Looks like it's going to have a score. There's your CSS.
So I see here. Okay. All right. So I was going to ask you, when is it populating? I guess once it's fully written, it populates in the left pane.
Correct. And then until you accept, will it actually like fully commit it? Um, and you also have the option, like as you go on, you could always restore to undo what it's done, which is the preferred way. It's actually if you have any errors, it's preferred to restore a previous section rather than to try to like continue on because it'll have that bad version in memory.
Yeah, I've seen it with C line. I've seen similar where you can go down many rabbit holes, and before you know it, your code has changed. And then the interesting thing about AI is sometimes you got to put the rails on it because it could go nutty and start making changes. Sometimes they're good changes, but sometimes you're like the thing was working perfect. Why did they, modify the background for whatever reason just because it decided to? So it's good to put those
Yeah.
in place.
Exactly. And it's good to get the bad things it did out of memory and just go back and get it back on the right path. Otherwise, it just sometimes will start hallucinating later because it has that bad memory.
Correct.
So
Cool.
so if you look, it's actually giving you a write of like how to play it, like what's going on. If you look in the code, you can actually see what each element in HTML is in the far left. Like it's actually written comments for
So
you.
yeah. So that's
Yep.
that's key. I mean, for
Right.
anyone that's actually diving in and reading code, well commented code is preferred.
And and if you go to game.js, you'll see the actual JavaScript where it's really helpful to see all of the
Oh yeah,
comments for each line, right?
you're right. And just so the viewers, the comments are here with those two forward slashes. It's this code is ignored. It's comments for developers to kind of understand and follow the code. So
And you
they
can see, look, it takes in actions like up, down, left, right.
hmm So it looks
Oh,
like
cool.
it's saying to actually run it. It looks like it's ready to go.
And and so before we do that, let's click accept all on the far right.
So okay.
Cool. So now that's all committed. And then we just need to open up that index HTML file in like Google Chrome. So
What is
one
it?
easy way to do that is if you right click it the on the far left where it says index HTML, and you can just open that up in File Explorer and then just double click it. Oh, there's your game.
Well, that was quick. I lost already.
You lost already.
Uh-oh, let's see. This is supposed to be your arrows, right?
You got it.
Uh-oh. How am I losing so bad? Hmm. Might need a little
Are the
tweak.
arrow keys not working?
I don't know if it gives me the see what I just boom.
So 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 oh, I see you moved it that time.
I did.
There you go.
I guess if you hit the wall that
So,
oh there you go. I was just a little slow.
okay. No worries. I was like, hey, maybe the input didn't work and we could debug it together too. So
I
so
get
so, so let's stop here. Let's stop here. So I don't want you to suffer trying to play this game.
yeah.
So let's go back to cursor now, and why don't you tell it something, and keep that window open so you can go
Oh
back to it. But
yeah. So yeah, truth be told, if I the arrows do not seem to be properly in the left one doesn't want to work. So I could literally, yeah, left and up doesn't seem to work properly. So I literally can
but
just
more
say
than that, yeah, but more than that, let's just
that,
give it all the context you want to give it. Like tell it a story.
tell it a story, huh? Meaning,
Like talk about what you're experiencing, like your user experience.
okay. So we'll say game was over when it hit the side walls. The snake game, I don't think that's supposed to happen, right? Am I right?
I can't remember. I think there's different versions, right?
Okay.
Like. So this can
Oh,
be
this is
whatever version you want it to be.
okay, and it shouldn't. Also, the top and left arrow keys didn't move the square.
What else? What else would make it easier for you? Because I noticed every time you started, it's already starting the game for you, and
Yeah,
like
so
you weren't even ready.
correct. So like a button to start would be a good user experience. Well, I guess that's right. Like the game to start, a button to start the game. So I'm ready. And as a side note, I these LLMs handle typos pretty well. I've gotten a little lazy where I don't fix them all, and it'll
That's
still
okay.
handle it pretty good. Just for those wondering. Um, let's see what else we got here. I mean, truth be told, it looks basic. I'll tell it to fancy it up a little bit.
So maybe I would do that as like a next iteration because I think you've already given it like three different contexts.
Yeah, okay. You're cool with that?
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna
Let's
submit.
because like when you're building something, it's always good to like let's get it to work and then we can iterate on like how nice it looks.
True. I think sometimes, I mean, when I feel there's small tasks, I don't mind kind of loading them. It has an idea of what's needed and then it outlays the plan. But you are right. If you go ahead and come right out of the gate and blast it full of a lot of stuff, it's better to kind of focus, get that one item or task done properly, build off of that.
Exactly.
All right. So yeah, it's going through the files, it's making the updates. It's saying here you can
And so
even
if you expand, there's a little arrow, you can see more of what it did
uh
at the bottom of the
right here, right?
of each. Yeah, you can
Yeah.
expand and then you can see what it's added.
Yep.
So it's added styling for a start button and even a hover state. Oh, fancy.
All right, let's see. It's updating. Da, da, da.
Now it's working on the actual code. And then we can expand that too if you want to see what it all did.
Have like let's say we're working on this application, right? And let's say for sake of argument, you're hitting a wall and you're like, you know what? ChatGPT might be better suited. Do you just go ahead, switch the LLM right here, continue without any change, or
So like when I face a really challenging problem in Cursor, I'll flip it over to O1 and have it like think through and I'll actually do at web so that it searches the web to take in as much context as it can about the errors or whatever's happening and then
right?
it'll fix it.
So you find that there's no break, meaning like even though like let's just say sake of argument for the GUI changes, I want to try a different LLM. There's no like, okay, you have to get that. Like when you do a new chat instance, you have to get that, like whether it's Claude or ChatGPT, it doesn't have any memory for the most part for any
Oh no, it
previous.
does.
Right.
It
So that's what I'm
does.
saying. Does for this, you don't have to like re uh
So
mention everything
there's
you've worked on.
no, because they also just recently added in their latest update the ability to mention the previous composer chat that you had. So you can take
Okay.
a summary of everything that you've done in this chat, and then it brings it into a brand new chat.
Yeah.
Um, but you can switch between models without starting a new chat. It's just
Okay.
there's certain scenarios where maybe you don't want agent mode, and right now you can't switch from agent mode to normal mode once you've started this chat.
Got it. Okay.
But
That's
but
good to
but
know
even
that
if
you
you wanted to go to another chat that's just about using normal mode with like O1 or an even more advanced model, you can always reference this chat with that normal version with O1 and have it do some reasoning and then come back to this chat after it's fixed that and reference that chat into this chat. So like
interesting.
you can work between those two different types of threads without any issues as well.
That's cool. I haven't delved that deep into that. I've done mostly like handoff files. So like again, using let's just say Claude Desktop, you get towards the end of the chat, you have to start a new window. Hey, that new chat instance is going to have no knowledge of any of this whatsoever. Well, I send it the handoff file like for developing, and it basically summarizes, says where we're at, what we're looking to do, what we tried, what the whole 9 yards, so that when I put that into the next window, it's almost as if you're starting off right where that other one left off.
Yeah, and check this out. I'll just show you this really quick. On the top right, if you click that plus sign, so you just started a new chat. Now
Okay.
type at, and then see where it says recent changes at the bottom.
Yep.
You click on that. Um, like that's gonna look at all the recent things that have changed. But now,
Very cool.
but close that off. Let's try another at sign. No, in that. Sorry, it's too
Yep.
fast to talk there. Um,
All good.
just click
I'll
on the
find
right
out.
pane button.
Yep.
Um, what I meant to, yeah, just delete what you typed there. Type the at sign again, and then summarize composers. Let's click on that. So now you can summarize that other chat by just clicking this button, and now it has everything that you did in that other composer chat,
I like that.
and so
That
that you have all that context.
that's very useful.
So,
Awesome.
and anyways, but let's go back to the last chat because I'm sure people want to see this game working.
Yeah.
So if you click the little, oh no, so
I'm too quick.
open the right pane, and then on top right there's like a rewind sign. That's your history.
Yep.
Click on that, and then you can actually go to the build a snake game composer. There you go. So that we're just I just want to make sure we were here. It actually looks like it finished everything you asked, though. If you look through that list, it says it added a start button, fixed the wall collision, improved controls, and then better game flow. So now if we
Awesome.
go back to that Chrome tab that you had open
Let's refresh this guy.
and we just refresh the page. Okay, so it did some weird stuff with styling, but let's see if it works.
Much better.
What about walls?
Yeah. Oh,
That's what we like to
gonna
see.
teleport? Is that accurate? Is that the right way to do? I guess in theory that's how is that how it's
I
supposed
think so.
to? Okay.
Yeah. And can you
Oh,
eat the food?
oh,
You can eat the food and you got longer.
all right. That's pretty wild though, if you think about, I mean, how fast we just built this thing, right? It was what, 2 prompts roughly?
Yeah, but we unfortunately we probably spent more time talking about some of the features and functionality versus just getting into the fun stuff. But I'm
Yeah.
always happy to answer a question. That's
Yeah, yeah,
to a
yeah. No,
false.
yeah, for sure. No, I think I think those items are useful. But any rate, we'll wrap this up. So the next
You said
iteration is the
you
yeah, we
said you
want
wanted to make this look better, right?
exactly. So let me go ahead. Let me just close out one of those. I don't know if I submitted here before.
Yeah. So in that prompt window, tell it tell it that you want to build. Oh,
Oh, I had it. I'm sorry. So I tested it and I didn't hit submit because the submit's supposed to keep the changes, right? Like that's the commit.
no. Submit is to type in a prompt. There'll be like a blue accept button when you need to accept. So in this case,
Oh, I
you just kind of just spent a request
got
of
it.
just your context file. So if we actually go back, you can go where it says empty message and click in there. Yep. And now we can
Oh,
actually
yeah.
continue from that point.
Perfect. Oh yeah, that's like the Chat GPT where you click the edit and whatnot.
You got it. And then it'll just
Okay,
forget everything that just happened.
cool. So we want to be. This is where we're going to address our GUI updates, right? We're going to say make it more
So
fancy.
yeah, so you can 100% like give it whatever context you want to like make it a beautiful UI UX design or something.
Oh shoot, I hit the enter button. There
Oh,
we go.
might as well just let it run, see what it
That
does.
was interesting. Yeah, that I didn't mean to do that. Let's see. All right, you know what? Let's just see what it does. Um, off that basic. Let's make
And
it
if you
look
press
sharp, modern,
escape,
professional.
it'll
Kill it, right?
unfocus. Because right now it's focused in that chat. There you go.
Okay.
So what is it doing here? Okay. Modern and professional. I wonder if it's when it thinks professional, if it's going to make something that would be on LinkedIn or
Yeah, right. Um, yeah, so it's interesting. What you can do is, we could let me bring it up so people could see. Oops. Too many files open. Let me just bring this up so we have it. All right. So that's the original. Here's what it's currently building. And so you could actually talk to it, right? Like start, maybe I don't want this here. You could say, hey, center it on the top or put it on the bottom. I don't like those colors. Can you make them, red instead? I mean, you could address all these little items just by talking English. Again, there's no coding whatsoever. So just by typing in here, we can go ahead and modify that application.
I
So,
got it.
so it's making its changes, rounded corners, glowing effect. It's got a little score. Did it have a score before? Oh, it did. Okay.
But because the design was kind of different, it was hard to probably see that.
All right. So let's
And
see.
do you see how there's an accept button on the top of the prompt window on the right?
Yes.
That's the
Right.
one that you want. There you go.
So that's what I was saying when I accidentally hit enter before. It looked like the changes took effect before hitting accept all. I could be wrong on that.
Yeah, we'll have to check back on the video.
Yeah. I mean, I guess in theory it's happening, right? This is showing me the updated version. I didn't accept this yet, but
That's true. It's just like I follow it as a practice of being
yeah,
it's committed. Like I've
sure.
I've I've accepted it.
Okay.
Um,
Well, we'll tell you what, let's accept it. Well, let's give it a go. Just refresh, make sure it's got the latest. Boom.
oh,
Oh, fancy schmancy. That's a big upgrade.
it's interesting though because it's like it's almost making it seem as though the snake is um already multiple segments.
Right. So we'd have to say like remove the fade or whatever or adjust that.
The trail, the
Yeah.
fade
But
trail.
so anyway, the idea is as you get down, granted, me and you have some coding background, but we didn't write any code whatsoever, right? And if you were coding this by hand, this application I've never coded would probably take you a good amount of the day, right? By tweaking, debugging, the whole nine. Here we just did 2 iterations. You can see that this one is definitely nicer, and all those GUI updates were made right before our eyes.
100%. Because now I'm curious if you just said that the trails were confusing, like would it just fix that?
Let's do it. Da, da, da. So the trails are a nice effect, but confusing. Ah, can we change? Can we remove that? Actually, let's just go ahead and throw some other things in there. Um, let's just see what it does. It
Yeah, go ahead. Just go to
well,
town. Because now we're talking about design. The game's already there.
right. So it's like let's just say the overall GUI looks good, but we can still do a lot better. Please modify this to make it look professional since I'll be selling it. See what that looks like.
That's interesting. Yeah, we'll see.
And let's just take a look. I mean, not there you go. There's 200 lines of code, not much there. About
Bunch more
500 lines.
CSS.
We actually should have tested it. We should have changed the LLM to like ChatGPT and seen how that modified it. But
Yeah,
I'll
I mean, 100%. I wouldn't be surprised if it was super different, but you never know until you know, right?
really test it out. That's the not to veer off, but this is worth conversation. I'm all about modifying and changing prompts, and it's funny because and you do have a useful prompt, which is hey, act as a prompt engineer. But in theory, just because it is like said to be a better prompt, I don't know if many people are actually testing them out. So I have some prompts that I'm like, hey, put it in ChatGPT or Claude, try to make them better to get better output. Sometimes, even though it says it's a better prompt, it may sound better, more thorough. I'm not necessarily getting the best or better results. So the key is to actually test it and try it out.
Makes sense to me.
All right, so let's see. It's still generating this. Maybe
Yeah, I
it's
wonder.
Yeah,
Yeah, I wonder if they're letting you do fast requests because I'm guessing you made this account a few months ago. Um,
but it's not a pro account to my not, and it's just I
because
think with a free account you get a certain amount of.
yeah, so if you've already used those, maybe that's what. If it didn't reset, that might have been why.
Well,
Because
here we
for
go.
me, it's very fast, but I pay for it, right? So,
Yeah, yeah. All right, so we're gonna accept all. Let's just go ahead. Okay, little
oh,
gradient there, little change. All right, so let's see. So we got a checkered board. So they got rid of the fade.
and now your segments are
Yep.
like blue.
I'm sorry.
The segments are blue, and it's kind of following the gradient theming.
I mean, it feels the same. Is it more professional? I guess that's a matter of opinion. It definitely did make. I mean, here's what we were talking about earlier. It'll just kind of go and implement what it sees best. Like
It
it,
it fixed the styling. Like if you look, everything's centered, everything's like equal. Like the buttons are in a better position, right? Like to me, it looks more professional. Whereas the other one, things
yeah.
were still kind of off a little bit.
No, it does. I mean, and again, here we are. This is just, this is our third iteration. Here you have a working snake game. At any rate, that's the power of applications like Cursor. Um, I mean, we talk a lot about this, right? This is the future of development. Um, just being able to code applications through text. It's mind-boggling. It's exciting. I mean, the productivity here. I mean, here I am developing. I haven't developed in years and just creating some awesome applications.
100%. And you can imagine this is a very primitive use case of Cursor.
Right.
This it'll build full stack apps. It'll integrate a front end, back end database. It'll help you launch it onto AWS. It'll even put it on your GitHub for you and like make it something open source. And like a workflow that I typically use with those notepads is I'll go to ChatGPT, I'll have it generate an entire product requirements document, a database schema, a tech stack, a roadmap, like an actual milestone roadmap. I'll plug that into the notepad and then I'll have Composer work through it like a team of
Right.
engineers and they'll actually build that whole app.
I love it. It's awesome, man. Well, hey, I appreciate the walkthrough. You made it very simple and easy to follow. Um, hopefully the members, I mean, I know they'll find value in it. Guys, if you want to dive further into Cursor, have any questions, whatnot, is it cool people reach out to you? You're really an expert.
Yeah, yeah, that's totally
Awesome.
fine.
I love it, man. Well, thank you again. Again, I hope everyone enjoyed this. I know we kind of veered off a little bit, but there's some good nuggets in there. So I'm gonna play around with this a little bit more. As you know, I've been really into the C line lately, but I like the user experience with this. I mean, especially the flow that you just showed me, how you can go ahead and reference the other chats. Not to say that C line can't do that, but I like that feature here. So. Awesome, man. Well, thank you again, and looking forward to some future videos with you.
All right, thanks, Ryan.
Awesome. Yeah, let me